And we are now joined by Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones. Stephen, how are we feeling today, man?
A lot better.
Yeah.
It's good to get back on track, and really thought our guys stepped up and, played with the play style that Coach McCarthy and Dan and Bones expect them to do. So thought it was a real good game. Obviously, still a lot we need to work on and get better if we want to get to where we're going to get. But, that's anytime you play a Bill Belichick coach team and come away with that kind of result, it's a positive.
It was another defensive onslaught from this team, and I'm kind of curious from your perspective, is it looking more and more like the identity of this team is the defense, and is that kind of what y'all wanted, kind of the way y'all wanted to build it?
Well, hats off to the defense, and that they play. All around, I thought we played really well. I thought we hit well. I thought we obviously took the ball away, which is top of the list. Although we didn't have a lot of sacks, we got a lot of pressure. Jones is good at getting the ball out, but thought overall, we're about to go into our meetings, but my bet would be we are hit most of our goals, and then. Offensively, I just think, when you say the identity, I think we've got a chance to be a really strong offense as well. I mean, we're moving the ball. We're just, still got to continue to work on results in the red zone, and I believe that's going to come. I think we've got the players to make the plays, to get the ball in the end zone, and I think ultimately that's going to happen, and it's just a matter of continuing to find what's going to work the best for us and execute and make plays.
Stephen, how tough at times is it to evaluate when you're up by so many points? There's not many blowouts in the NFL, and somehow you guys have had 3 out of 4 blowouts. And I'm just going from the perspective of being a baseball guy, Stephen. If we're up 10-0 in the 6th inning, sometimes our at-bats are a little bit different than when it's 5-4 in the 7th inning.
Sure. Well, there's no question you play when you feel like, what you want to do is run clock and get through the game, which, we have been fortunate. You rarely see blowouts in this league. And, we've had some really strong results in 3 out of our 4 games. And I agree with you. You're not playing, you're not, if you will, playing the way you normally play if you were in a dogfight for 4 quarters. So, there is some things there that I think we'll continue to see. I think the good news is we do move the ball well, and we dominate time of possession. We've done a great job with all of this. It's just a matter of executing in the red zone, and I think as we move forward, those things are going to happen. We've got a very experienced, great quarterback with a lot of great weapons around him, and this offensive line, I think. We've got 4 out of the 5 starters in there this week, and hopefully that'll change as we move forward against the 49ers, and we'll get Tyron back. But certainly that's a big part of it when you can have continuity in your offensive line. But at the same time, we also know that's no excuse. Injuries are a part of the NFL, and you turn on the other games and you watch it, and they're teams are lose people, and that's part of it, and you got to be able to respond, and it's next man up.
Well, and speaking of that, the Rico Dowdle injury, is there any more that you can give us on that right now?
We're more optimistic than we were yesterday, so that's a good sign. And we were worried he might have re-injured that hip, and I think he does have a hip contusion. It's starting to feel like, but hopefully not the severity of the one he had a couple of years ago.
Do you think that if something was to happen, do y'all have something in place already, or would y'all have to go search for another player with that kind of skill set?
Oh, I think we're in great shape in terms of what our roster looks like, and I think internally, we probably fill that role. Not probably would. Malik Davis did a great job for us last year when Rico got hurt, and I know that he's chomping at the bit to help as well.
I'm very in awe of Deron Bland. Just what he did, walking in last year and just saying, "Hey, I'm here. Watch these interceptions I can get." And then, he steps back into the role when Trayvon Diggs goes down. And I was just kind of curious, did you guys know you had a steal in the draft, or did he develop here in a way that nobody really expected from there?
Well, obviously there were some scouts who really thought a lot of him. He wasn't a combine guy, a Senior Bowl guy, but obviously we had some scouts stand on the table for him. But I will say this: from the moment he walked in the door, he raised eyebrows, and really felt like we were fortunate to get him where we got him, and he's done nothing, as you said, but make plays since he's been here. I mean, did feel like Diggs was out there the way he was, going after the ball and making big plays for us. And certainly you miss Diggs, but it's great to see, Bland and certainly Jordan Lewis step up for us, and feel like they'll continue to do that. I mean, Jordan Lewis has made plays on the biggest stages, and he's a fierce competitor, and really feel like we've got that situation in a good place. But certainly we'll miss Diggs, but it was great to see Bland step up like that.
Steven, you talk about scouts saying, hey, this is a guy, we need him now type of deal in the draft. I'm wondering this, the separation between, let's say, a Will Anderson last year from Alabama and maybe a second round kind of pass rusher linebacker, there's probably a pretty different grade from that stage to that stage. But when you're looking at a third round guy, and I know Bland wasn't third round, but how much separation is there in the room from like a third round guy and a sixth round guy? I'm just assuming there's not much separation from being drafted in the third round to then being drafted in the sixth round.
Well, they all, as you go, it certainly, the web widens and people have different opinions. I would say, to me, that's the cutoff, the third round, when things really start to go in different directions and people pick players that we might not have on our board 4th through the 7th or late, and they pick them in the 4th. And I'm sure, people have the same thoughts about some guys we pick. But I think it's more, especially as you get later in the draft, let's call it the 4th round down. It's more about, what type of scheme you're running on offense, defense, what type of players you're looking for, what you're willing to overlook between on and off the field issues. There's a lot of moving parts that start to, play into the process and the mechanics of how you go about picking your players, probably after that, after those first 3 rounds.
One of the things that Choppy talks about this a lot in the morning show, and, a lot of people will say that just defense doesn't carry over year to year, and the abilities, some of the turnover factors don't carry over year to year, but this team is, 3 years now, done very well in those categories. And I'm just kind of curious because you saw years where the Cowboys weren't good at getting turnovers and it just wasn't happening. Do you think it's a fluky thing for that, or do you think that there's something different that this defensive coordinator brings?
Well, I think Mike brings this to the table too. Offense and defense ball skills are a huge part of our draft evaluations.
Oh.
And I don't think it is an accident that we've ended up with a defense that can make plays on the ball. So sorry about that, guys.
It's all right.
It's awesome.
But I got my ringer. My ringer's off.
That's a good ringtone.
But, I don't think it's an accident. I think that's part of what we're after. We know what type of player we want. I do think that's where Will McClay and his scouting staff do a great job of really wanting to understand. They sit in the training camp meetings. Will keeps them abreast throughout the season of, the type of players we're looking for. And those are players that, certainly we, love the pressure on the court. It starts with the pressure on the quarterback. He can't hold it. He's got to throw it. And then you want the DBs that can go make a play on the ball. And we've had some great DBs here that weren't necessarily great ball skill guys. They covered great. They were long. They were fast. And, they'd cover their man, but they weren't necessarily great at catching it. And that's why there's a lot of corners in college and pros that are playing corner and not receiver because they weren't great ball skills. So I just think we've made a conscientious effort in the draft, what we do in free agency to go after guys. Gilmore's obviously, Stephon Gilmore's a guy who was part of the reason we were so, wanted to get him in the mix here is he's a ball skill guy. And he makes plays on the ball. And obviously we draft a guy like a Diggs and a Bland because we think they got really strong ball skills. So there's things that we're looking for when we draft guys or get guys in free agency or make a trade for a player that really fit the play style that we want to have for the Dallas Cowboys.
Dak got asked a San Francisco 49ers question after the game. He said, "Thanks for ticking me off. I need that for motivation." How long does it take you to get over? Are you still thinking about the San Francisco situation, and does it tick you off if you think about last year or the year before?
It does. I mean, it's. I think our players certainly feel that way. I know our coaching staff, our people, everybody feels that way. We want to. Hats off to the 49ers. They've been able to beat us twice in the playoffs. We feel like we've had opportunities to win those games, but you got to take your hat off to them. But I can tell you, everybody's fire's burning in their belly in terms of wanting to get back out on the field and play the 49ers. They've always been going all the way back to Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. We had the great rivalries there when we won our 3 Super Bowls. Do you think of Deion Sanders playing 1 year with the 49ers when they won it, and then he moved over to us, and then we won the Super Bowl. But, there's always been a rivalry there going way back. So they're a great organization. My hat's off to them. This is going to be a huge game, and I know our guys are going to prepare the right way, and I know they'll play the right way, too, when we play them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, growing up, I know Mike and I both grew up watching those rivalries. We were in high school and all those were going on, so it's exciting to have that. Let's come out on top on this one for sure. Do you think that Brandon Aubrey could have hit a 71-yarder yesterday if he really needed to?
I think he's got the leg to do it. I hate we got the penalty because he was sure going to get to kick the 66, and the reason he's out there is Mike and Bones know he'd make that kick, and certainly when you do a kick like that, we all know all the different things that can happen from a block to because you're trying to get the distance, or even if you don't get the distance, then a return, because you're usually you got about 8 offensive linemen out there that are covered.
Yep.
And so there's certainly some risk when you take a long kick like that. But I thought it would have been interesting, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see it this time, but I'm sure we'll see it before it's over.
I know I'm asking a question already about San Francisco, but it's already been built up. Last night, they spent 30 minutes on Sunday Night Football building up San Francisco, Dallas. So I'm built up for it, and I'm ready for it. How do you slow down Christian McCaffrey? Because he seems to do a great job. If you over-pursue, which you guys have a fast defense, man, can he cut it back into seams and really hurt a defense?
This team's very, I think both teams are, if you really look at it, are very similar, to, the playoffs last year. And I thought our defense did a nice job of working against the San Francisco offense. Obviously, Coach Shanahan's one of the best in the business at moving the football. Certainly they got a play style that you got to have nothing but respect for. They play hard on defense and make big plays on defense, and, expect a similar type game. This is going to be a big-time football game, and we need our big-time players to make big-time plays, and I'm sure they expect the same out of theirs. And McCaffrey's just a special back in this league. He can hurt you a lot of different ways. He can hurt you running it, catching it. He's just a special player. But at the same time, we've got special guys on our defense who I know come with the right attitude, ready to play football.
Stephen, thank you for your time today, good sir. We look forward to talking with you next week, man.
Sounds great, guys. Great being on.